Sorry, is anybody, I don't know if Chair is able to send an invite to Alan McCormick from Friends of Monklands Canal? He's just messaged me to say he doesn't have one.
Okay, I think Christine can deal with that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. I'll give it a couple of minutes then to get its invite and then we'll get the ball rolling. Is that okay? Okay, folks, we'll get the meeting underway. Welcome everyone, Coatbridge Community Board meeting, Thursday 24th of February 2022. And as Matt posted up earlier, it's getting streamed live through the YouTube channel, so we can be on our best behaviour, folks, as we're moving forward tonight. I'll quickly move on. I have apologies already for Councillor Mary Gourley. Is there any other further apologies, please? None?
I'm aware of, Chair. Christine, is there any more apologies? You're on mute, Christine.
You're on mute, Christine. Matt, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, Chair, I couldn't find my unmute button there. We've got a couple of apologies. Councillor Alex McVeigh and Teresa Mullen, and also Councillor Gourley. Okay,
that's lovely. Thank you very much. Moving on to the Chair of the Community Board arrangements. It's just, once again, it's just a wee handout. We'd like to encourage community groups and organisations to think about putting themselves forward to take on the role of chair on a rotational basis. Free from experience, there's some great support that's provided by the community partnership team. So if any organisation, individual would like to take on the chair, I'm more than happy to pass it on to individuals. Again, if you contact Christine, she'll certainly give you all support and whatever you need, folks, okay? And it's not as daunting as you think. It's quite user-friendly and you're very well supported. As I say, we want to move on to General Community Board business and updates. Item 5 is the Community Champion Head of Services update by Janie O'Neill. Janie, I'll give you the floor and then any questions after it. Is that okay?
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair. It's quite a brief update for everybody on the call this evening, and it is, thank you again for me being here. I always like to take part in this, and I'm always really interested to hear all the updates as we go through the meeting. What I would say is that we are certainly delighted, as I know everybody will be, to see a reduction in the number of COVID cases coming through our schools, because that's obviously something that I look at very closely on a regular basis. So that's something that we're able to report that, you know, our schools are looking towards, certainly our secondary schools now, they're working towards their final exams in the senior phase. I know that there's going to be a change at the end of the month, as everybody will be aware, in terms of the masks being worn in schools and so on, but also just to say that we continue to have mitigations in place in schools as well, just to keep everybody safe. So just to note that we continue to work really hard with our schools to support them, but also delighted to see a reduction in the number of cases. And I know that's something that's been on folks' minds obviously now for a number of years. And the other thing, whilst it might be a wee bit strange to mention this, because I know I'm talking about Cumbernauld here as opposed to Coatbridge, but it is a fantastic facility for the whole of North Lanarkshire. And that was really just to give an update on the Cumbernauld Theatre, which is now officially opened, and just to raise awareness of that for everybody on the call. As I say, it is a facility which is there for everyone, and I know that they've got a number of great events planned over the next period of time. And it's also sitting on a campus which is accessible for young people and for all members of the community, and it's something that everyone can head along to if they're able. So it was just to see if there's anybody interested in anything more about that. Happy to give further updates through Heather Liddell, our Active and Creative Communities Manager. So just wanted to mention that, and other than that, I don't have any further updates at the moment, Chair, so thank you. But happy to take any questions as we proceed.
Thank you, Jane. Does anybody have any questions? No. Okay. Can I thoroughly give my apologies? In my haste to get moving, I forgot to look at the minutes of the previous meeting to get them passed in any matters arising. So if we could maybe just get back to that and look at the actual previous minutes. Again, my apologies regards that. I'm in my hurry to get through this tonight. Is there any matters arising from the previous minutes? None. So can I maybe ask that they get approved and seconded then, if people would like to put that motion forward? Sorry, who was that?
Councillor Docherty will move it.
Thanks, Councillor Docherty. Can I have somebody to second them, please?
Happy to second them, Willie. Christine
Thank
McNally.
you. Thank you, Christine. Again, apologies for that, folks. Now, get moving on. Okay, item 6 on my agenda is there was 2 attachments issued out to people. I know with issues initially tried to get them opened, which was resolved. Thanks very much for that. It's the CLD strategy documents, and I believe June Ford is going to do a kind of presentation on them.
Hi, Willie. It's Liz Fergus, the CLD manager. Is it okay if I come in first and then June? We're kind of doing it by a double act.
Yep, that'd be fine. Carry on.
We did send the partnership plan out, and we also sent our slides. Apologies for, them being so wordy, but it was really just to give the board members as much information as possible. But we know that we don't have a lot of time, so we won't go through them kind of word for word. But just absolutely delighted to get an invite along to the board tonight, and we're really keen to establish strong links between what we're doing with our community learning and development partnership plan and what's happening with our community boards. The community plan is not just the council, it's also made up of, kind of a whole range of partners, including Van Ale, NHS Lanarkshire, Roots to Work. Sorry, I can bounce back. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
And a range of community organisations. So, and for a lot of people on this call tonight, they're very familiar with the work of community learning and development. And community learning and development is about helping improving outcomes for individuals and building stronger communities. And I know that practice happens across the local authority and across the voluntary sector. And our work is structured around 4 themes around our youth work, and I'm delighted that June's here as the youth work manager, our family learning, our adult learning and our resettlement, and our learning and improvement, which also takes into account our work that we do in partnership with our homeschool partnership officers and our work across the primary schools as well. So and we're obviously kind of very active in the Coatbridge kind of area. But as I said, we move on to the next slide, June, please. Oh, sorry. So, we've had a long history of working in partnership in North Lanarkshire, in terms of working together, because we know that one service, one organisations can't improve outcomes for individuals and communities, that we need to all work in partnership together. And as I say, in the past, we've had a very active community learning and development partnership in Coatbridge. And as we move forward, we're really keen to make sure that we establish that link with the Coatbridge Community Board. And we've also made sure that we've captured our kind of work within our community learning and development plan, which times very closely with the priorities that you've set within the LOIP. So, there's really kind of strong connections and kind of synergy there. our plans are kind of required now because they are kind of set through the CLD Scotland regulations of 2013, and we have got a duty to produce a plan, but we were doing this long before it came into regulations, and we had a plan that we've produced every 3 years. We've produced a plan in 2014, 2017, and now we have our new plan that we have shared with all the board members so that we can look at where the synergies are with our boards. And like our schools, our plan does get inspected through the HMIE kind of scrutiny framework. And as I say, you know, we have stood down our locality partnerships in favour of a kind of stronger links with our town boards, and that's why we were here tonight, is because we want to make sure that we establish the links with the boards going forward. June's going to just take you through a couple of examples of the work that we've been doing, and also to kind of make sure that we capture the work that we're doing in Coatbridge. She'll take you through some of the examples of the work that we're doing in Coatbridge. Thanks, Willie.
Thanks, Liz. Has anybody got any questions you want to ask in the presentation before June comes in? Okay, June, you want to carry on?
Yep, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Brilliant, thank you. Nice to see everybody on the call tonight. I see a few familiar faces when I was the senior in Coatbridge, so it's really nice to see everybody again. As part, I'll kind of give a brief overview of the youth work COVID recovery plan as well. And what I'll do in the chat, once I get back to not sharing my screen, I'll put in a link which will take everybody on the call, should they wish to use it, to our local pages, which shows a lot of the CLD youth work activity across all the areas. It's called a What's On page. So if you wish, you can kind of click on it to see a bit more detail on the CLD youth work offer within the Coatbridge area. It would be remiss of me as well not to say that I know Alan Davies is on the call tonight, and I know some young people have been attending the community boards with Alan in previous meetings as well. So obviously we're kind of continuing our work around youth voice and working with young people through our local youth voice groups. And one of the most significant changes that we've made is that we used to have 6 local youth forums, and in light of the changes to the 9 community boards, we've changed that now to 9 youth voice groups, and we've got a very active youth voice group in Coatbridge supported by the team. And as I said, Alan's here tonight as well, and our local elected members of the Scottish Youth Parliament. In terms of the activities that we have been continuing to deliver throughout our kind of COVID recovery and beyond, starting with some thematic work going on just now in terms of No Nice Better Lives activities, which we're delivering as workshops within some of the schools. Our Duke of Edinburgh Award continues to be run as part of an open group, as well as building the capacity again in and around the schools. We have responded to concerns and from young people raising their concerns around mental health of young people, not only in part of COVID recovery, but we need to recognise the impact that the COVID has had on our young people around their mental health. And I'm delighted to say we've got a very significant high numbers of young people that participate in a programme called Living Life to the Full within the Coatbridge area. And many young people who attend that course, which runs for about 6 weeks, do go on to participate in other community-based opportunities, such as the Duke of Edinburgh Award, such as LGBT groups, such as youth voice groups as well. We continue to work in partnership with our colleagues in sports development to run our youth diversity project, which takes place on a Friday night within the Townhead Community Centre, which is adjacent to St Ambrose campus. That's been running really successfully with our colleagues in sports development, and we've enhanced the youth work offer and the Friday night projects, and that's to kind of meet the demands and the expectations of the young people as well. And one of our new developments has been a brand new group which is targeting primary 7s to S1. We're hoping that this ties in with the transitional arrangements for young people, and it's a new group called North Lanarkshire Challenge, which we're delivering within the time capsule as well. So that's a wee very quick journey of some of the community-based activities. In terms of the universal offer, we'll continue to support our young people to achieve awards and accreditation, and taking part in authority-wide initiatives as well, such as, you know, the Black Lives Matters conference that we had North Lanarkshire Council facilitated on Monday, and the Climate Change Ambassador programme as well, all of which includes young people from the Coatbridge area, which I'm delighted to report. So I'll stop there. Any questions, please let me know. I'll hand back over to Liz, and I'll put that link in the chat bar as well. Thanks, Willie.
Thanks, June. I suppose, you know, kind of our next slide, you know, kind of talks about the priorities in the plan, and I don't intend to go through the whole kind of plan and the priorities. But what I would say is that, you know, when I looked at the Coatbridge at Loic, obviously you've got mental health, poverty and digital inclusion as three of your kind of key priorities, and these are three of the key priorities within the plan. So you'll see how well they kind of dovetail with the local outcome improvement plans. So, you know, kind of, I think maybe not tonight, but I'm happy to take questions, but I do think we need to look at going forward how we kind of make sure that the plans dovetail and that we avoid duplication, and we are linking in with kind of Matt and Leanne and officers to kind of make sure that we look at where the synergies are. And as I say, we have stood down what was our kind of local CLD partnerships, because we do feel that that would be a kind of duplication of the work that the boards are doing. So, you know, we would be really keen to look at how we take that work forward to make sure that we do have a kind of more joined up approach with the boards. June's kind of mentioned some of the community engagement that we have taken place, you know, kind of through our young people. It's really important that we're always kind of looking at how we engage new community members, new adults, new families, new young people, new individuals. And what I would kind of just also do is put out a wee kind of plug for our kind of community magazine and our stakeholder magazine called Your NL, that we produce 3 or 4 times a year. And, you know, we could even do an article, if you like, in terms of showcasing the work of the boards. And as I say, that would be a kind of good way of kind of showing a joined up approach. So that was a very quick tour around the CLD kind of partnership plan. Some of you may have seen it, some may be involved through their organisations in helping write and shape the plan. But happy to take any questions from any of the board members. Thanks.
Chair, I think Councillor Duffy maybe wants to say something.
Chair, can I ask the question on our poverty strategy? Who is she partner up with? How they tackling anti-poverty?
I think we're tackling that in a number of ways. You know, we try and make sure that all our activities, for example, are free to all young people. We're one of the very few local authorities that offer activities such as the Duke of Edinburgh Award as a free activity for all young people. Some other councils charge for that. We are making sure that we're promoting the new travel pass for our young people through Young Scot, so that all young people under the age of 22 receive free travel. We target a lot of our provision at the bottom 20% SIM data and make sure that we're kind of looking at supporting our most vulnerable communities. We're doing a lot of things like outreach work. We're taking referrals from schools. We work very closely with our financial inclusion team. So we're doing a whole kind of range.
Okay, thanks.
Christine, I'm having some IT issues at this end. Can you hear me okay? Right. Have any more questions for June or Liz? No.
No,
Okay.
right, thanks.
No. Okay, so we'll move on then. We're moving on to the community partnership updates. There is 7 items for discussion, right? So I'm going to move on. It's the board development sessions update and then the local development programme. And both updates have been given by Matt Costello. Matt, you want to move on then, please?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Very briefly on the community board development sessions, you might be aware that we put out a request the last cycle asking for people who wanted to be involved in that as testers for that. So if you've been part of that, the testing passwords and joining instructions will have been sent out, and we'll be setting it up shortly to allow that to go ahead. And then we'll feed back to a future board in relation to the wider access, etc. And once the test is complete. In terms of the local development programme, you received an updated copy of the report earlier today, and it's just so that report shows the progress of some of the projects that have been in place, and you'll see some of the infrastructure projects like car parking, etc. Has been progressing quite well quite recently, and a lot of those projects have been completed to date. There's one project that should be on the list there is for an additional pathway at Summerlee Street. That will be included as a potential future project, and it's just a call here as well for any elected members or community groups who have got any ideas for local development programme projects, just to let us know about them. We'll link in with organisations and groups to see how we can take those projects forward in the future in terms of the criteria that's laid out in the plan. That's all for me, Chair. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Does anybody have any questions for Matt in relation to either the development sessions or the LDP programme? Councillor Docherty.
Matt, can you tell us what the progress is on Viewfield Road lay-by? Annette was handling this, I don't see it in any of the papers.
That is in there, Chair. There's one of the ones that's in under Viewfield Road. There's an additional increase to the budget for that one, and the project proposal forum has been taken forward. So we're moving forward on that one, but will be likely to be next financial year, as given we're sitting late February now. So it'll be next financial year before that one moves on, but it's one that we have got a project proposal form done for it now, and we'll be taking that forward.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Willie, I don't know if you saw my hands raised there. I didn't know what way to come in, so I put the hand up on the screen for you to see it straight there.
Councillor Carragher, sorry. Councillor, on you go, sorry.
Not a problem. Matt, I've got a couple of questions, if that's okay. Maybe with the turning circle, actually, for Shawhead Primary, I'll maybe take it out with the meeting with you on that one and ask the questions. House Park, I'm receiving feedback. People are loving it, absolutely loving it. I think it is amazing. The problem is, though, that the area wasn't clean, so there's a lot of like bits of broken glass within it. I just kind of assumed, like when the fencing was put up and the benches were put in, that it would get a clean. I don't know if you've got any feedback on that. Do you want me to ask everything, Matt, or?
Yeah, that's fine. I guess ask away, Councillor Carragher.
Okay. The other one is, let me see, Mossnook Street. It says about the potential traffic calming. Absolutely in favour of that, but what I do know is that I had asked for a traffic survey to be done in November for that one, and it's came back. I don't know I don't know how this works. That's came back and said that it's not suitable for traffic calming, but I see here it says it's approved in principle. So if that's the case, I'm pleased with that, because I know locally that is what people want. A wee bit of feedback and that would be good. The Dunure Place one as well. When will the local residents be surveyed on that?
Is that all your questions just now, Councillor Carragher?
I think so.
Right.
Thanks, Matt.
Your first one in terms of Stuart House, obviously, if it's stuff that's been left there, is it materials been left following the works, or is that other?
It was
litter and stuff that's been left lying about in the place.
It was prior to actually.
Right, now, we'll pick that up.
It was in.
Right, we'll pick that up in terms of maintenance for the park. We'll pass that on to the appropriate group in relation to that within the council. Mossduke Street, the traffic calming one, that was approved previously by this board and by the Community Empowerment Committee in principle, but it was approved before the traffic survey was carried out. We wouldn't tend to put traffic calming into places. It's on there because it was something that was brought to a previous board that was agreed in principle. However, our colleagues in roads carried out the survey, etc. It's in there, and there's been a petition has been brought to the board as well. It'll be picked on later on in the community board. So it's not something that we would actually be recommending. It does go ahead on that basis because in terms of the criteria for formal traffic calming or that to go in, it doesn't meet the criteria for that. But we went through the process before it got the assessment carried out. So it's just there for transparency. Councillor Carter, that was there and was approved.
Sorry, Matt, you mentioned the petition. I actually do have questions on that as well, but we'll wait till that one comes up.
Yeah, that'll come on. That'll be dealt with under petitions. The one in your place, is that the one you contacted me about earlier today? Yeah. That's, but obviously we've only got that today, so I'll pass that, and I'll pass that to the team to have a look at that. And I'll say we won't put any timeline on it at the moment, but we will get people out as soon as we can, and we'll keep you in your look with that.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks for the update, Matt. Anybody else any more questions for Matt? No. Okay, moving on then. Christine Boyle, it's probably updates on the 3 LOIPs, the local outcome improvement plans. I've got poverty, digital inclusion and mental health, emotional well-being.
Okay, thanks, Chair.
Okay,
just a very quick update. I know as agreed previously, the LOIP updates were circulated with papers for the meeting. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to kind of see the updates that have been put forward. We've got Annette Warren, although Annette's doing some minutes. Douglas Millen and myself are happy to take any questions that people might want to ask in terms of the papers that were circulated. There's only one thing I'd like to say. Elaine Johnson, who was previously involved in the kind of local groups, she's now moved on. She's NHSL kind of colleague that was working with us on the LOIPs locally. She's moved on to a new post. So just wanted to kind of say thanks to Elaine for all her work involved in the kind of LOIPs, and wish her all the best for the future in a new post. So, but happy to take any questions that anybody wants to ask in relation to the LOIPs. Thank you.
All very quiet tonight.
Right.
Must be this cold weather. Can't get our brains warmed up. Remember, which was like Crystal, it's minuted in the minutes about the work that Elaine Johnson done. She's been very supportive in the LOIPs, and certainly for us, a third sector organisation, and it's recognised for our good work. Okay, I take it still no question. So back to yourself, Christine, again, the community board self-evaluation.
Okay, so I've got a wee kind of paragraph to read out to you, so if you bear with me. So community board self-evaluation is part of the governance for community planning. It was recommended by Audit Scotland that self-evaluation for local community planning and community empowerment should be undertaken. The Improvement Service have, due to their developing role, shown an interest in working with the boards around self-evaluation at some point this year, and they could potentially want to start to discuss this process in the coming months and potentially before the summer. Further discussion will take place with boards as more information becomes available relating to the proposed approach and format of the process. But given the timing of the board meetings and the upcoming election period, we wanted to ensure that the boards are aware before any approach by the council or Improvement Service. Thanks, Willie. Okay,
thank you. We'll continue with yourself, Christine, again.
Right.
The community concordate, and I also need to ever say that, I also say community concord.
Yeah.
Concordate, Christine, it's yours again.
No, thanks, Chair. So the Council's Community Empowerment Committee on Monday, the 31st of January, approved a proposal for Van El to lead with local community organisations in stakeholder and community engagement with the aim of developing a community concordate or agreement. So I think the agreement bit is easier to say, Willie. So the idea is that building an engagement with communities to date through the development of the LOIPs, there will be a focus on equalities groups and seldom heard voices to inform an agreement between community planning partners and local communities around how we will all work together and agree expectations and standards across the partnership to support the delivery of the LOIPs. Building on previous discussion with partners, there's a report in Mars that provides an overview of the proposed North Lanarkshire approach and is linked to ongoing actions to ensure the development of partnership approaches for the delivery of the LOIPs and support the development of community boards. FANL will work closely with partners and communities to engage, develop and implement in the coming weeks and months. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda. Christine, it's yourself up again, and we're discussing the Queen's Jubilee.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Okay, the Council is supporting the celebration of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee when she becomes the first British monarch to celebrate a Platinum Jubilee after 70 years service. There are a number of official events that are arranged and others that have been set up to encourage members of the public to participate, and the Council is also planning its own celebrations, of which the detail is still to be discussed. A bank holiday weekend of celebrations will take place between the 2nd and the 6th of June 2022. As part of the Council's celebrations, a fund is being set up which will allow community groups and individuals to apply for grants through Community Partnership Team, the outcomes of which will be reported to the community boards. The details of this fund is still being arranged, but we wanted to make sure the boards were aware prior to the announcement taking place. Thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you, Christine. I'm sure we'll all look forward to that long holiday weekend in the 2nd to 6th of June and probably look at celebrating it with activities and fun games, everything else over the period. Next item, Christine, it's back to yourself again. Green space participatory budgeting. Couldn't get that word out either tonight.
No, thanks, Chair. So green space participatory budgeting. North Lanarkshire Council are interested in finding out what projects local communities think would help nature to recover. We intend to spend £50,000 on practical improvements across the North Lanarkshire Council area in 2022 to 23. Local communities will be invited to suggest the improvements they would like to see. This could be general ideas from more work like plant more wildflowers to help bees thrive, or specific improvements like put up bird boxes in Littlewood. All suggestions must relate to the land that North Lanarkshire Council owns and operates and directly help nature to recover. The suggestions will be checked out to make sure they're practical but trained ecologists and council staff. Then all suitable projects will be brought back to you and your community to vote on. Everyone will be encouraged to make their voice heard and decide which improvements they want to see happen in their local areas. The winning projects will be delivered by North Lanarkshire Council staff, but they are likely to be opportunities for people to volunteer and get involved on the ground. When participatory budgeting exercise is launched next financial year, we'd appreciate your help in spreading the word so that the maximum number of people hear about it. If you have any questions, please get in contact and we'll be able to provide further information. We're looking at we've actually got a kind of green space contact email address that I can share with you on the chat bar. So if anybody's interested, want to find out more about that, then please get in touch. Thanks very much, Chair.
Thanks, Christine. A lot of good, valuable information there, and I'm sure the board will take it on board. Moving on to item 8 is petitions. It's the petitions for anti-speed ramps. And we've got William Chisholm is from the Kirkshaws Tension residents speaking to the petition. And Gary Woods from North Lanarkshire Council will provide a report. So we could hear from William first. William. Hi, William, are you there?
Would it be William or Eddie Woods, maybe?
Again, I'm having IT issues. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you fine. Well, Mr. Chisholm is on the call. He is unmuted, so I don't know if he can hear us.
William, can you hear us? I don't know if we can maybe move this forward, Matt. Maybe obviously people have got a petition. It's a request for traffic camera in the Kirkshaws area. If maybe Gary would like to come in first.
Well, can I come in on that?
Yeah, Councillor Wood, yes, carry on.
Right, Willie's going to speak about this petition tonight. I mean, well attending the meetings with the Kirkshaws Tenants Association for months. It was constantly brought up about the traffic within the area, the speeding cars within the area, and when I did, like the other councillors within the area, did approach the council. We've got traffic surveys done within the area. The Tenants Association was still not happy, so that is why the petition is here tonight, to come to the community board, so that they can see that we're listening to the community. And Willie was wanting to talk about it tonight. He was quite eager to talk about it.
Yep. He's online, isn't he? Matt, he is.
He was. I don't see him on the call now, to be honest with you. He's been off the call.
Because I'm aware of this tandem working with the tenants and residents with William and
Well, let's move on to another item, Chair, and then we'll see if we can try and get him back on.
Okay, so...
Sorry, can I just say that I've had my hand up again since the start of this item? I don't know if you can see, I don't know how the best way to come in. I don't want to just jump in and speak while
your hands there, Councillor Carrick.
Your hands there, Councillor. Just my sight's not so good tonight.
That's all right. Do you want me just to speak then? So as Geraldine said, I mean, this is within Kirkshaws. I mean, there's a large volume of inquiries in relation to speeds within streets and concern. Since the end of last year, I've requested, I think it's 4 or 5, Woodhall Avenue, Kirkshaws Road, at the old Monkland Cemetery at Mossnook Street, and they've all come back saying that there's no issue. I then highlighted this with the local police as well and asked them just to have a wee focus on the area, because the feedback that we're getting from constituents is different from what the 7-day surveys are coming back and telling us. I think, I can't remember the exact wording in it, but it's something about, I think, is it 80% of the traffic is within what it should be, but the issue is that 20% that's not. And I do think that it needs looked at again, because it's certainly what local residents want, and I'm glad to see the petition has been put forward here. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor.
Chair, would be worthwhile me coming in and trying to answer some of these.
Yeah, that'd be great, Gary, if you would, please.
Thanks, Chair, and good evening, board members, visitors, and et al. Gary Wood here, Transportation Manager for North Lanarkshire. Remit for development management, parking, transport planning, and most relevant in the case of this evening, road safety engineering, which is in part why I'm in attendance this evening. First and foremost, want to acknowledge the petition, can confirm receipt of it, and want to give everybody the reassurance that it will be considered. And with the end game, if you want, to reporting back our findings to a future board meeting. When we received the petition, I think it's 30 signatures or so. It's pretty vague in nature, so we didn't really get the flavour of what the true issues are, and where the problems are. I have got some knowledge of the Kirkshaws area, having worked in Coatbridge for many years of my working life, but I won't pretend that I've a full awareness or knowledge of where all the problem streets and areas are within there. And I guess that's where we'll be relying in those from the community to guide us and to ensure that we continue to assess the correct problematic streets. For any requests that we receive for traffic calming, as Councillor Carragher just points out, we tend to look at it from 2 angles, one of which is undertaking traffic surveys, 7-day traffic surveys, to measure speed and volume, and volume and traffic composition is just as important, because that gives us a flavour of not only how many vehicles are using the road, but if there's maybe an abnormally high proportion of heavy goods vehicles or non-motorised users. So that gives us a greater understanding of the local conditions. And not only that, we do undertake a review of Police Scotland's injury accidents, our accident database, and the combination of both of those allows us to identify any road safety improvements. I guess it's vitally important to highlight that, you know, we do have finite resources, and as such, it's important that we target those resources to the area of greatest need. And it underpins the importance of undertaking those surveys and review of accident statistics when considering these requests. Councillor Carragher, I'll be honest and upfront, I don't know the particulars of those particular requests you referred to. I'm quite happy to go back and review those after this meeting or catch up separately. But yeah, you know, undertaking the volume, speeds, reviewing the composition and the accident statistics are key components in deciding whether traffic calming's merited. As I said, we are well, certainly we're committing to looking at additional traffic calming in Kirkshaws, but I'll be honest and upfront, we don't know what the problematic areas are, and with the board's permission, would be willing to communicate directly either with the councillors and the petitioners to ensure that we're looking at the locations we should be, and hopefully we can get additional surveys undertaken.
Thanks, Gary. I'll come back to you with it was about 4 or 5 that I had done, and it would be great if they could be re-looked at. Thank you, I really appreciate that.
Certainly, I'll dig out the background to it, councillor. Check what the results were, and quite happy to, if a period of time's elapsed since they were undertaken, re-evaluate it again. That won't be a problem.
Thanks, Gary. I see Councillor Docherty's got his hand up at the moment. In you come, Councillor.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, it's just a comment I would like to make about this traffic calming. 8 years ago, I brought this to the attention of this group, and Matt arranged through the police to go down with the meter box and the cable across the road in Viewfield Road for the 7 days. And the report come back that the road wasn't suitable for to take these calming. It was cushions I was looking for to slow down the traffic. That the road was too busy. And I looked at other roads around about Coatbridge and Shorehead in particular. I've seen it. And this is a bus road, a main road. We've got factories up the road here where the lorries are going up and down regularly. And it's only a matter of time there's going to be a fatal accident with kids running from these flats. But I flagged it up, I don't know, many times, and it's turned down. Could we have a look at this again?
Yeah, councillor, I'll be honest, I wasn't in post this particular post all those years ago, so I'd be lying if I knew the background to it. But yeah, happy to take on board suggestions of where we think the problems are. We can look at them. What I would say over and above what I've mentioned before is that we've got a very good working relationship with the police. You know, there's no hidden agendas. Any survey results we get, we pass on to the police, and not only does that allow us to target our resources efficiently and effectively, but it also allows them to determine whether a speed enforcement resource is required in the area.
Okay. Thanks, Gary. I've got quite a few people waiting to come in. It's Councillor Woods, then after Councillor Woods, David Boyle, and then Kirsten, if that's okay. If you want to raise your point, so if you want to come in, Councillor Woods.
Yeah. Hi, Gary. I can understand what you're saying. I mean, I think going forward, the officers really need to speak to the Kitchellers Association. I know that Willie was going to talk the night about it and go into detail about it, but we really need to listen to the community. I mean, we're putting the traffic surveys out here, and like Councillor Carragher says, Tracy, they come back 85, but they're constantly speeding, and the community's really up in arms about this. So we really need to communicate with the tenants.
Yeah. Is it okay, Chair, if I answer that question as well?
Sure.
Yeah, I think the reference, Councillor Woods, that you're referring to is the 85th percentile speed. And for those that are not in traffic engineering, that's the standard metric we use to establish speed limits on our roads. So without sounding too technical, that essentially is, you know, the speed at the lowest 85% of drivers on the road speed up, because it's a fair and reasonable trigger point. We can't of course set speed limits for the 5 or 10% that drive significantly in excess of the speed limit. Otherwise, we would have speed limits that are inappropriate for that particular setting or road. So yeah, that's the reference to 85th percentile in any response that we reply to.
Okay, thanks, Gary. As I say, can we have David Boyle and then Kirsten, please? Carry on, David.
Hi, Gary. It's just that I don't know if you get the same information I do, maybe with accidents round about there. I can get information if that would assist with anything as well. So if you need that, I could maybe pull up over a period of time, maybe the last couple of years, see if there's been any incidents, RTCs wise, that we've attended, and that maybe assist you, just to offer that out.
Absolutely. Any additional information is greatly welcomed. We get obviously the accident data through the Stats 19 database, but what we don't get is you know, some local knowledge as well. So yeah, again, that would be appreciated.
Okay, I'll dig that out. Okay, no bother.
Apologies for your wait, Kirsten, on you go.
Thank you, Chair. It's Kirsten Larson. I had problems setting my name tonight. I am councillor for Coatbridge North, just in case anybody doesn't know. We question for Gary as well. I've not brought this to the community board, Gary, but I did ask Joan Ashcroft several times over the course of the last 18 months for a traffic survey to be carried out on Sunnyside Road, just as it meets the Shimla Cottage, with a view to having a pelican crossing. John was very positive about this and said that once traffic was back within normal kind of ranges following the pandemic, he would get it done. Just wondering if you know anything about that.
Hi, Councillor. I don't, but it's certainly within our gift to look into that. So I'm quite happy. If you're happy, just to start up that conversation again, Councillor, and we can try and move it forward.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you.
And sorry, I see Neil McLeod. Neil, your hand up again. Apologies for your wait, Neil. And you come.
Oh, not at all, Chair. Sorry, folks, for those that don't know me, I'm Neil McLeod, and I'm the Community Inspector for the police at Coatbridge. Listen, I just wanted to come in and acknowledge all the points that are being made. Every road that's been mentioned, I'm already aware of through my community policing team. All these areas have been highlighted as causing some community concern in terms of perceptions of speeding motorists. So from time to time, and as often as we can, we do task our community officers with going out with the speed detection equipment and monitoring these areas. So they go for set periods of time, they monitor it, and as required, and as Gary's already said, we have that two-way flow of information where we pass information to the council for consideration of traffic calming measures. So that dialogue will continue with the council. Any stats that they require, we've got somebody in position in our road policing department who exclusively deals with all that liaison with different partners. But all I would say locally is within your community groups, if you continue to highlight, whether that's through your councillors or, as I say, through community groups, continue to highlight the areas that are being, that there's concern being expressed, pass that to us, pass that to your community officers, and we'll add it to our list. And again, we'll be there as often as we can. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Neil. I think I can endorse that as the kind of chair of the community board, and also as my kind of remit as a project manager at Kirkshaw's Neighbourhood Centre. Certainly aware of the speed and issues within the roads, going back with Councillor Docherty said, Viewfield Road, Kirkchurch Road. So I don't know, is it something that the board can maybe look at, Matt, and maybe get together and have more of a discussion with Gary Woods to see how we can move this forward, certainly for the benefit of the local communities.
Yep, absolutely, Chair. To pick up on just what Gary's been saying, and also the elected members, their comments as well in relation to the importance of community input to this. I think that's something that's very important, and we can help facilitate that as well through our team, ensure that's done in an appropriate way. And we'll certainly work with Gary, the police and others to ensure that that's done effectively. We can't say that the outcome will be any different than it is at the moment. We can no guarantees in relation to that, but we'll certainly make sure that the voices are properly heard as part of the process. That's great. Thank you very much. As I say, I think we've spent quite a wee bit of time on that, quite an emotive issue, and we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. It's community matters, it's input from local community groups. Now I see Christine McNally from Landboy Development Trust may have to leave early, so I'm going to ask Christine to come in first and give us a wee input from a local community group. Are you still there, Christine?
Sorry, I was in the middle of typing everything in case I had to leave. It's quite a lot, so I'm going to run through everything for you.
Nice and brief. Thanks, Christine.
I'm wearing two hats here, one for the Community Solutions Programme and one for Landboy Development Trust. First of all, we'll go through the Community Solutions Programme. Money is more or less spent, and I'm now on to the evaluations. There is going to be one event funded, hopefully taking place in April, May, which we'll be expecting and inviting a lot of the community groups to come and showcase what activities they've got on and what they're doing within the locality. And there should be more funding available come June and July. Moving on to the developments for Landboy Development Trust, which actually include Coatbridge. I know Landboy Development Trust actually sits in the Northern Corridor end, but these are activities which have been funded across the whole of Coatbridge area. We have an unpaid carers group, which was funded by the Carers Breather Fund, which will be sitting in Coatbridge and Landboy. Landboy will be an evening activity and Coatbridge will be a daytime activity. We have a carer sitter service which has been launched, and that's to allow carers to at least 2 hours break, some free time where we'll have trained volunteers and trained staff to go in and sit with individuals in their own home. We have a Brothers and Sisters programme set up. That's a test of change funded by the Scottish Government, supporting children and young people who are care experienced to sustain healthy relationships, and that's going to be based again in the Coatbridge area, hopefully at the hub in St Ambrose. We have a caregivers, again a test of change for the Scottish Government, and that's a caregiver support group for care experienced families. We're hoping to be able to deliver trauma-informed practice across the whole of the Coatbridge locality to third sector groups. We have a kinship carers group which will be established in Glenboig, and we've also been given, the consortium has given funding for a kinship carers group to be given activities within the Coatbridge area. Childhood toddlers will be up and running. Landboy Men's Shed is up and running. Dementia Carers Group, which is across the whole of the Coatbridge locality as well, is up and running now. The walking football in Glenboy, which is hoping to work in partnership with Coatbridge Men's Shed, that's up and running next week. And working across North Lanarkshire schools, we are delivering activities for children and young people's mental health. So we're hoping to be able to expand that out to not only the schools, but to the wider community soon. We are looking at delivering a social activity for ASN students aged 16 upwards. And again, that's a test of change as well, that we're coming to the Coatbridge locality, and that's referrals through local schools. And we also do employability that's been delivered and expanded for work experience for ASN students living in the Coatbridge locality. So that's where we're at the moment for Landboy. It's very quick to go through it, but if you want any more information on any of those activities or services, please drop me a line and we'll be able to tell you how to refer in or support those groups.
Thank you, Christine. Do we have any other inputs from other organisations? Any other local community groups?
Chair, there's the last tram project. Want to do an update? I don't know if you've got that there.
I've got that there. I've got the last tram project. I believe I've Bobby and Charlie online. Hopefully, are going to give us a wee update about the actual project. Would that be correct?
Good evening, Chair, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Charlie McElwain. I'm the coordinator for the tram group at Summerlee. I spoke to you a few years ago, and you were generous enough to give us 30,000 at that time. This is phase 2 now of the project. Just a brief rundown that Summerlee is unique.
Sorry, Charlie, just come in. Is everybody else getting an echo?
Yeah.
Charlie, we're getting an echo from you.
Muted, Chair.
No, I think Charlie's actually logged on twice, and that's what the issue is.
Right.
I don't know if the admin can maybe take the one off that he's not using.
Yeah, we'll try to do that just now. Try to get that off at the moment, but I can't seem to get them moved off. I may have to take one of the. Yeah, maybe on 2 devices, Charlie. So we need to move one of them. But I'll keep trying to get you off another one.
Sorry about that.
5 echoes now.
Is that any better?
Yep, that sounds better. Charlie, on you go. Sorry about that. Carry on now.
That's your bit now. I've taken one of your accesses off.
Do you want me to start again, or you?
Yeah, you start from the beginning.
Right, okay. Well, I'm the project coordinator for Glasgow's last tram, Coatbridge's last tram, whatever, at Summerlee. We're actually restoring a tram, and I spoke to you about 3 or 4 years ago about the first phase, and we're now on to the second phase. The thing about Summerlee is it's unique in the actual fact that it's the only location in Scotland that you can actually ride on a heritage tram car. So from that point of view, a lot of people, a lot of visitors are attracted to Coatbridge. Now, the tram that we're talking about is what they called a coronation class tram car. Actually ran through Coatbridge from up until 1956 when they stopped running in Coatbridge. So the tram itself actually has a lot of history with Coatbridge and basically people of Coatbridge as well. The unique thing about this tram car is there are only 4 of them left in the world. When this one starts to run, it will be the only one in the world that actually does run. And I can see the slide on stage now. That's it running under what was the Capstan Bridge in Coatbridge, probably in the 40s or early 50s. That photograph had been taken. The thing about this tram car is that it quintessentially was the tram car that everybody remembers. People went to work on it, went to school on it, went to the dancing in it and this sort of thing. And we're now in the process of restoring this car, mainly due to the fact of the allowance that you gave us earlier on. Another bit of history about the car is that we actually have a driver that drove this tram. It's called Betty Simpson. She lives in Airdrie. And we were hoping that once we get it running, that Betty could actually drive it again. The other side of the coin is, from your point of view, from the council's point of view, you actually own the tram. So at the end of the day, it's yours, you know, and the impact on the local community, you know, from a cultural point of view, you're going to have people that will come and see the tram. There's an economic one as well, from where it's local businesses that are actually benefiting from the money that we're spending. All the materials that we're buying so far have come from upholstery in Coatdyke, sheet metal work in Chapel Hall, The paint is from Airdrie. You know, everything that we are spending apart from the control system comes from local businesses. The tram itself, although cosmetically it will look exactly the way it did in 1939, the running gear, the electronics that operate the tram will be modern day. And the reason for this is that it'll be easy to maintain, and people that are coming behind us, younger people that can maintain it, they'll be able to do this and obviously benefit the council by keeping it running. And that's basically about it. The only other thing I would say is that anybody that wants to come to Summerlee, you're more than welcome, and we'll show you around the tram and answer any questions that you've got, or any questions tonight if you want. And that's it.
That's really well done, Charlie. It's great that somebody like that keep these things going.
Thank you very much. It's not just me, it's Bobby Davidson's on the call. And we're very, very fortunate that Bobby actually served his time working on the electric motors that drive this tram car. So to have somebody like Bobby on board was a bonus. And the other thing as well is that the management of Summerlee have been excellent towards us as well. So we're, you know, it's a good project, and it's one that I think would benefit Coatbridge.
Yeah, should we do our best to keep it in Coatbridge, keep it going. Yeah, well done.
Charles, hi, let me bring the chair here. You mentioned you've received in stage 1 30,000 of funding.
Yeah.
And you came to the community board, or you're looking for the funding. What source of fund are you looking for this time?
We're looking for another 30. At the first meeting, I said it would take about 90,000 to restore this tram car.
Right.
The first 30,000 that you've actually given us, we've bought all the equipment to make the tram run, the modern control equipment to make the car run. When we started to source this originally, it was coming in at something like 400,000. And another member of the group, a guy called George Drain, has, in conjunction with the Isle of Man trams, has designed a system, an operating system, and we've brought that in for just under £27,000. We've also had the upstairs of the seating for the upstairs of the tram totally recovered, and we've bought all the aluminium sheeting. The money that we're looking for now is basically to complete the outside of the tram car. The sheeting, the aluminium sheeting, the paint, which is actually very expensive. People don't realise just how expensive it is to paint something like this. The glass, because it has to be toughened glass to meet with safety requirements. And that's where we are just now. That's what we're looking for, the funding to take it to the next level.
Thanks. Matt, can I ask that? Would that have been funding initially through the local development programme? Is that what he's looking for, a funding application to the LDP again?
Yeah, there was an application before, Chair, a few years ago now, and that was supported through the local development programme, yeah.
Right, so I'd imagine this is what Chaz is looking for, to submit a further application.
Yeah, and I think it's to bring this to the board tonight to see if the board would support that. Something we can consider through the local development programme, and it's something that we have discussed this before in terms of try to seek alternative sources of funding as well to support this kind of work. That's something else we wanted to look at as well. So, it's to bring to the board to make them aware. I think it's a great piece of work. I think it's fantastic to see the progress.
Totally,
It looks a fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, it's a fantastic piece of work, and when you think of the work that these guys have done, it's take your hat off to them. It's fantastic. So, but it's just that's certainly the background to it, Chair.
Yeah, great. So it's certainly, as the chair, it's listening. It's something I would be in full support of. If other board members could give us some nod of approval for that, I'm sure it's something I could look into.
100%, Chair. Yes.
Thank you.
I've got my hand up.
Councillor Larson has her hand up.
Councillor Larson, sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say, Chris, that was a great presentation. I thought in particular the quality of the pictures was wonderful. I know that Summerlee has become quite a landmark within Coatbridge, and I think it's marvellous that we have so many people at Summerlee that want to, or seem to have a vocation even, to preserve the heritage there. Whether it's the tram or whether, you know, was it last year or the year before, the pandemic's got in the way, maybe longer, the old cinema organ came. So great work, and something I'd be really happy for the board to support. Thank you.
See, Annette Warren's got her hand up.
Can I ask Charlie and Bobby about the men who are in the group?
We've actually got quite a varied membership. It varies from week to week, obviously, because we're volunteers. But the guys themselves, there's usually half a dozen on a Tuesday and a Friday, and on other days as well. It doesn't have to just be a Tuesday or a Friday, but we're always looking for people. But we're very fortunate. We've got guys like Bobby who can speak for himself in a minute. George Drain, that designed the systems. We also have a coach builder who's doing the paintwork for us, and a joiner who are there every Tuesday and Friday and have been for years to bring the project on. But I'll shut up now and let Bobby talk to you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
I'm not very good at this techie stuff. I only do old tram cars. The other aspect, Charlie was talking about the inclusion of the group. We also take young laddies who probably haven't worked, and we bring them in and give them little jobs and build up their confidence. We've had up till now about probably 2 or 3 of them, and they go on. Well, the last laddie we had is now doing a course in engineering. As I say, when they come at first, they're very shy, but by the time they leave us, they're swearing like the rest of us. The group, there's laddies who've lost their wives and various things, so it's quite a select group we have. But what Charlie was saying earlier about the control system, what we're trying to do is future-proof the tram, because we'll not always be there. So we need to make it in such a way that younger engineers will get their head round it, because we certainly couldn't get our head round the original control circuit. The biggest outlay is going to be going on is safety glass, because it's a tram that the general public will be riding in within the park, that everything's got to be 100% safety. All the wiring that has been put in is all flame proof. I'm finding difficulty talking about it, but we're nearly there, put it that way, you know. And also, Charlie never mentioned, but we will make access for disabled individuals in wheelchairs and various to get on board, you know, to make it all inclusive. So that's about as much as I can tell you.
Bobby, I think what you've told us has been great. I've got Stephen McCargo want to come in and have a wee chat about it as well.
All right.
Is Stephen there?
How you doing, guys? Can you see me? No, just quickly, I wanted to. I watched that presentation. I thought it was fantastic. I've been an engineer for since 1995. I left university doing electrical engineering, and see the money these guys, what they've spent in that project, it's nothing. It's nothing. For what they've actually achieved is outstanding. And what they're talking about, the control system and teaching the younger engineers that, That's an absolutely fantastic thing they're doing for the community there. Just that. Sorry, I just wanted to make that quick point there.
No, that's great. So a question fella Scott's asking if you can answer it. What age young people would need to be to help with the tram project?
16.
16.
Maybe 16.
Yeah,
Okay.
if they're on, they've got to be accompanied by an adult if they're under 16.
Okay.
16. But we're always looking for people. You know, I mean, I don't know if you've actually seen the project. It's been covered on STV on 2 occasions, and it's featured in the Airdrie and Coatbridge Advertiser quite a few times, and some of the national press. And we're always looking for people. Anybody that wants to come along is more than welcome. And as Bobby said, you know, 2 of the kids that came along, one of them's doing engineering, the other one's actually at Glasgow University as well, but he's doing accountancy. But when he's on the summer holidays, he comes back. So, you know, as I say, these are the kids that are going to, you know, they don't have to be engineers. You know, they can drive the tram, they can sort of look after it, clean it, wash it, do what they like. You know, it's an inclusive organisation group. It's not just for engineers, you know.
Thanks for that, Stephen. I think in my short time as chair of the Coatbridge Community Board, it's been one of the best presentations I think we've had to view, and it certainly sold me. And I think looking at the members on the board here, it's something we're in full support of, and I wish you all the success to continue the great community work you're doing. It's fabulous. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks very much for listening.
No, great. Okay, moving on. I got another input of another Friends of Monklands Canal would like to give us a wee presentation.
Hi guys, how you doing? I don't know if you can bring the presentation up.
Yep, I've got it in front of us.
Okay, so I'm just going to bring it up on my phone here myself. Yeah, basically last year we brought up a petition to get bins and benches put into the canal, and we just wanted to give you a general update on what's went on. Our group is increased in size again. We're approximately 2,500 social media members, and we've been pushing Sustrans and Scottish Canals quite hard to do a number of things. The 3 areas that we've looked at, the Home Farm Bridge, the paths, and getting some benches and bins. So the first stage, we done a petition with our members, was to get benches and bins. The bins have been purchased, and the benches we purchased, and we've just had them installed. So if you look down, we've put the 3 benches in 3 different areas. Bench 1's just across the walkway bridge on the canal path. Bench 2 is before the Home Farm Bridge. And bench 3 is along, heading towards Dumpelia Lawns, and it's located just at the golf course. And we've also purchased 3 bins. We've been told that Scottish Canals will be providing a member of staff to service the bins. And there was one item on there that John Ashcroft said, I don't know if John's in the meeting tonight, but he said that he'd be providing a bin for North Lanarkshire to so we could empty these bins into an area. So it's really just to see if we could get an update or someone could contact John if he's not in the meeting tonight to see how we're getting on with that. But that's about it. But basically, the benches have been installed. It's Mackenzie Construction done the concrete plinths for the benches. The benches were roughly just over £1,000 each, and we got 3 of them installed. So we've had good feedback for that, and we're pushing hard just now to work on getting some work done on the paths in the Home Farm Bridge. So hopefully that we'll get more information on that soon. But maybe Alan can come in now and give you an update from his point of view. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on the bins and the benches, how we're doing so far. Hello.
Hi.
Did you pick up most of that? Yeah.
Yeah, we did, Stephen. Thanks very much.
Okay, right, no problem. So
Alan, come in, carry on,
Yeah.
mate.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, hear you
Yeah.
fine.
Listen, thanks for that little presentation, Stephen. That was great. Like Stephen says, you know, there's been a lot of activity down in the canal. The other thing that's coming up to make you aware of, we've managed to secure a ministerial visit from Jenny Gilruth, who's the Minister for Transport. She's coming down to visit the Monklands Canal. I think it's on the Thursday, the 10th of March. So it's really good news for us, because obviously we're going to be biting our ear for more money to do other things if possible. So that's coming up on the 10th of March. We've been in regular contact recently with Scottish Canals to get the benches in, and you know, we're pushing to get these paths improved in some way. So we're fairly confident. You know, we're not going to let that go, and we're confident that sometime in the future we will we'll get that done. The other thing we've just recently done as well. Probably some of you already know this. There's some of them already in circulation. We put together a calendar, a Friends of Monklands Canal calendar, and I think there's some of them circulating in the council, North Lanarkshire somewhere. But from the sale of those calendars, what we decided to do is we decided to kind of donate any kind of profits from that to some local little community group. Well, one particular local community group, a Shining Stars group that just sits down there in St Augustine's. And I have to say, you know, really, they're one here. That's a fantastic little community group that we would be absolutely delighted to help from now on in. We also donated some money to St Andrew's Hospice, who do just the most amazing work. I'm sure everybody knows exactly who they are. So, you know, our plans moving forward are looking to kind of, you know, reach out to other little community groups. And if there's anything we can do to help them, if there's anything that we can learn from them, we're going to take that on board. There is another little thing that came to my attention, because of all the good work we're doing in the canal and we're getting the benches and stuff like that. It came to my attention just, I think it was last week, about a proposal North Lanarkshire seem to have for putting in some recreational stuff. I believe it's a new feature gateway to Drumpellier Country Park. These are, I think they're just proposals at this stage. But I wonder if any of yourselves have heard of North Lanarkshire's plans for developing Strathclyde Park, putting in a mountain bike park, and doing some activity down at Drumpellier Country Park, putting in a kind of tree-lined area, and maybe developing the. I don't know if their plans are to put a kind of cycle path down in our neck of the woods. But when I read this, and just when I seen it briefly, I thought that would be a great tie-in for what we're doing if they're going to do something in what's known as the Daisy Park, because that's right next to the canal there, and I think it would be brilliant if they did do a wee development there, encouraging people to come with their cycles and stuff like that. So I was just wondering if any of the councillor fellows have any insight into these plans from North Lanarkshire.
Matt, can you throw any light on that?
Not fully aware. It's probably something to do with our Parks Master Plan and the work that's going on at the moment, Chair, but we'll certainly make more inquiries about it and make sure that the team who are responsible for taking that forward link in with the group to ensure that there's the most benefit out of that work in terms of other work that's getting done, gets together on that, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for that. We've got a few people waiting to come in, but I think first of all, I missed out, and it's Marion Tobin from CAB. Apologies, Marion, never seen you. You want to come in?
No bother, Chair. Thanks very much. It really was just to bring folk back up to date as to what's happening with CAB, obviously in Coatbridge. We had a board meeting 2 weeks ago, and we had our AGM last week. So everything went fine with that. From the beginning of April, we're intending to restart all our outreaches again, and we'll be in contact with the outreaches that we currently use. One's Shawhead Community Centre, We've got a couple of sheltered housing, Landboy Community Hub and the safety zone in Brigady. So hopefully we'll get that back up and running again, and we'll get that advertised through our Facebook page that that's back. We're also hoping to start up again our home visits for the people that are absolutely necessary. You know, if we can deal with a client over the telephone and it suits both the client and the inquiry, then we'll obviously do that. I can't see us going back to drop-in the foreseeable future because we've had to use our waiting room as part of our interview rooms because of screens. However, we will be extending an appointment diary. So if clients, again, can't be dealt with over the phone or feel more comfortable, like for instance, getting disability forms filled in, then we will be doing face-to-face appointments. We are currently doing some of them, but we will hopefully extend that a bit more. But we have, because of screens and having to put holes in between two interviewing rooms, our interviewing rooms are quite small. We've gone from 4 interviewing rooms to 2, which obviously has got an impact on us. But we are still dealing with numerous inquiries. We're working in partnership with North Lanarkshire Council, offering benefit checks for clients who weren't entitled to the fuel hardship payments. So things are moving along, and it really was just to bring people up to date on that. As always, we make the offer that if there are any groups, and I believe I'm doing the community centre, Coatbridge Community Centre on Tuesday for 2 events, and I did the Simon Community last week, that we're happy to come out and talk to anyone about cab services.
That's great, thank you, Marion. I just want to revert back to the, I've got 2 people waiting to come in, and I'm wondering if it's reverting back to some of the issues on the Friends of Monklands Canal. I've got David Boyle, and then I'll start with Councillor Larson. Can you come, Councillor?
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just on the Daisy Park activity, Alan, I had phoned Matt earlier on to ask him what he knew about it. I know that it's came through committee. I just can't remember what committee it's came through, so I will find the report and get it to you. I don't know if colleagues remember the petition that was brought forward to the board during the pandemic to close the access into the Daisy Park to vehicles. And I think that happened on a temporary basis, and then it was getting moved to a permanent basis. And so I think there is a plan of work out there that may or may not include some disabled parking spaces. I think that Councillor McPate highlighted at the community board, and possibly some electric charging points. I haven't heard anything about a bicycle track, but it sounds like a good fit. So we'll find out the report. But I wanted to put on record my congratulations to Friends of Monklands Canal as well, because what they've done has been truly transformative. They started off with a very simple, you know, litter picking agenda, and you know, now they've been on the telly, they've got bins, they've got benches, they've got the whole of Coatbridge talking about the place, and the footfall down at the canal has been exponential. It's been sort of restored to almost its former glory, and I know that they're going to go from strength to strength, and I think they'll be an inspiration to lots of community groups moving forward. So I just wanted to say that, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. David, if you don't mind a wee minute, I'm just going to bring Christine Boyle in, who can give a quick update from John Ashcroft via the Friends of Monklands Canal.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I spoke to John Ashcroft today just to get a wee update for Friends of Monklands Canal. John had said at the previous meeting that yeah, he could provide a bin, but it would need to be mechanically serviced, so it would need to be in a particular place that could be uplifted. But what John has said is that he's currently working in plans to roll out new larger capacity bins across the area later in the year. But before that proceeds, he's happy to speak to, John's happy to speak to Friends of Monklands Canal and engage with them in advance of that, so that we can make sure that you're linking in terms of the bins issue. So he's happy to speak with you. I think, did John give you his contact details the last time when he was on? But if you've not got them, we can make sure that you've got access to that, and John will get in contact with you. I think Alan,
Yep.
want to say something?
Yep. Hi, thanks for that. Yeah, I'd be happy to meet John to maybe kind of get a location for the bin. As I say, as a group, we've had a little chat about it, and the only feasible place to put a bin from North Lanarkshire Council would be at the King Street end of the canal. There's already a bin there, but it's a kind of smallish one. But that is an ideal location for a bin from North Lanarkshire Council, because I think that's the most feasible location. But as I say, I don't know if I've got John's details. I've got a contact number for him. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd be happy to have a chat with him and maybe go down and meet him again. And because obviously, once the Scottish Canals want to put in the bins that we've got, the 3 bins along the canal, you know, we'll need a place to put the additional bin bags, basically. So, as I say, if we can tie something up fairly soon, then that would be great.
Chair, I can make sure that the guys have got access to John's contact and details. We'll make sure we forward that.
So,
I'd also like to... Sorry.
Thanks for waiting, David. You come in, David, then after David I can have Councillor Carragher on.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Yes, this is towards Stephen and Alan. Sounds really exciting, the stuff you're doing down at the canal. I used to actually cycle along that canal path when I was coming back from Coatbridge when I worked at the station, when I was operational there. Aye, maybe in the back, maybe the big red face. What I was going to ask, there's 2 things I want to come in on. Basically, the safety side of it. We've got a water safety champion within the area, and maybe tie in, and we could maybe provide some training, just even for throw lines, because if you're going to get a bigger footfall, you've got the benches are perhaps maybe a higher risk of people falling in. And the second one was to say that the last time, I'm pretty sure I've been through Stephen, I was going to try and find out maybe to get some defibrillators along the path as well. I'm still in the process of that. I'm waiting to get my contact to come back to me, but it was just to tell you about that as well. I've not forgot about it, so I'm still thinking about it. Okay.
Could I reply to David? David, nice to
carry on, Alan.
To see. As far as the water safety thing is it Tony Water Rescue? Is that your contact?
No.
Tony. We've actually already engaged. We've got a guy. There's a guy on our page who does water safety for Scottish Canals and does other things. I think he's fireman or something. But we've actually been speaking to him to come and give us some, you know, kind of to come down and kind of, you know, do some safety classes. But you know, we're just actually trying to figure out the best time to do it. You know, because obviously to do it right now, the weather's pretty awful. So, you know, his name's Anthony. I can't remember his second name, but as I say, he's Water Safety Rescue is the name. I don't know if they're a community group or just him and some passionate friends. But that's great, David, and hopefully we'll get something sorted out.
Yeah, that'd be good. We have got a specialist water rescue resource. It's not based at Coatbridge, but it's based up at Motherwell and also at Clydesville. So we could be tying with something like that as well, just to show some of the equipment, to make it a wee bit more fun, whoever we're engaging with. But it's definitely something we could tie in with. Aye, sounds good.
We're going to have to, the amount of folk that are going to be down there.
Aye, brilliant. Yep.
So,
Councillor Carragher, thanks for waiting. It's all yours now.
Thanks, Willie. No, it's just the paper that was referenced earlier. It was in the Environment and Transportation Committee 2 weeks ago, agenda item 2, Matt, if you're wanting to forward it on to Alan. And it does mention the petition that Kirsten was talking about at Blair Road and the Strathclyde Park and that on it. So it's an interesting paper, and I'm sure, Alan, yeah, you'd like to see that.
Well, we'll get that and we'll share that, no problem at all.
Okay, folks, thanks for that. I think that's us. We can now move on to input from the community planning partners on their lot priorities.
Chair, can I see just before you move on, I got another email from a member of the public, from Teresa Mullen, who unfortunately can't come tonight, but she had a couple of points that she wanted to raise under community matters. If it's okay, can I just read those out?
Yeah, carry on. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
She asked if North Lanarkshire Council has created or drawn up plans in partnership with Scottish Water to implement removal of lead pipes in North Lanarkshire Council. She also asked about traffic regulations. She said that she's seen in the press information indicates some Scottish councils are discussing changes to speed levels through residential areas, and asked, are North Lanarkshire Council considering future plans for the same thing? And if so, is there a time frame for this to be implemented? So she wanted me to raise that, but what we'll do is we'll look into that and we'll report back to Teresa once we've got further information to share with her.
That's great. Thanks for that, Christine.
Okay.
Okay, so she's moving on with the planning partners of the Lloyds, and we'll begin with the Tracklight Fire Rescue Service. I think that's yourself, David.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I've supplied a paper. I don't know if Christine, could you bring it up if that's okay? My IT skills aren't the best, so I would try sharing it with you, but I'll probably wouldn't be able to do it. Sorry, Christine, I put you in the spot there.
It's okay, I'll get it.
I did circulate the paper last week, so if anybody's had a chance to look at it, there was a lot of statistics in the last quarter from October up to the end of December there. So if anybody's got any questions on the actual statistics that we've got, I'm happy to take them just now. No, okay. Christine, I'll try sharing it. I've got it up my own screen, so I will try it. Share screen. Can you see that? It's coming up. Yeah. No.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just to give you a wee update about what's been happening out and about within the station. So obviously this period we're talking about was bonfire night, and we had a significant reduction in the actual fires that we had to put out because of our partnership working with the council, with Police Scotland as well. And any sort of bonfires that were recognised before bonfire night were getting uplifted. And also for firefighter safety, we were escorted with our local police crews as well. So a lot of incidents were reduced, as in for ourselves, any of our staff getting attacked. However, we did have one incident which was in the Cumbernauld area, and 3 firefighters suffered injuries. One needing hospital treatment after being subjected to being assaulted with objects being hurled at them from youths. It's unfortunate. We're still at the time of the report as well. We're still under the COVID safety measures to try and get out and get the home fire safety visits that we need. But at that time as well, and also just coming up to February there, with a high intake of the linked alarms, and we were able to get to our most highest at risks within the community. Unfortunately, we have now run out of the smoke detectors, the linked detectors just now. It is a delay from the suppliers, and we are waiting to get more just because we have used up what we've been given so far within Coatbridge. If anybody needs any further information on the linked alarms, I've got it there. There's a wee link there for fire and smoke alarms, the changes to the law. If anybody's phoning you up regarding anything about this, can you please put them onto that, because the station was inundated with calls. It has sort of calmed down a wee bit now, but just in the lead up to it, a lot of people, I think, were just concerned that they maybe not have the right equipment, but we reassured them, and anybody that didn't have any smoke detection, we made sure we put up any smoke detectors for them, even if they weren't eligible for the link detectors.
David, it's Marion from CAP here. Can I just
Hi
also
there.
mention that Care and Repair South Lanarkshire are still, through £500,000 funding that they got from Scottish Government, that they are helping with the linked alarms for people who are on low income and have houses within bands A to C. So
Right,
although it's
yeah.
not, there isn't a Care and Repair in North Lanarkshire, Care and Repair in South Lanarkshire based in Hamilton will take forward any inquiries.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks very much for that. Yes, that's true. So South Lanarkshire Care and Repair are assisting within the North Lanarkshire area, which is great. And if I can just bring you down, there's some useful links I've put within my report as well. And the very last link there was our UFAS consultation. UFAS is our unwanted fire alarm signals, which we get within offices, schools, hospitals. And what the proposal and the consultation has come out with in next April, what will happen is the duty holder we'll challenge a call, we'll challenge an automatic alarm, we'll phone the duty holder and we'll ask if it is a false alarm or if it's a confirmed fire. If it's not a confirmed fire and it's just a false alarm, we won't attend. There is exceptions to that rule. Obviously, hospitals and life risks, like schools and the like, with during school hours, and that will be happening next April. Within the station itself, we have got our fire reach staff. We have a new staff of 3, and they are now in place, and we're looking to start our fire reach programme mid to end March. Sorry, I'm just trying to stop sharing this now to bring me back. Is that me back, or are you still seeing my? Right. So we're going to open up the fire reach again, and there's a difference this time because before it was only term time, but we're going to be looking to do it throughout the school holidays as well. So it's going to be running basically all year round. Also, we've got our youth volunteer scheme. It's going to be up and running as well, and that's for our youths. Predominantly, they're going to help us with community safety activities. So anytime we're out and about, we can get them involved. Like earlier on, we're talking about Summerlee. The crews were actually out at Summerlee last week there at the Science Festival, just to engage with the local community. So we were part of that as well. In the station itself as well, there's a couple of rooms. I think I've mentioned it to you before. I think I've been banging on about this for a few months now, but we are getting somewhere. We've managed to get a few skips full of rubbish out of a couple of the rooms down the back end of the station, which we're going to utilise for engagement with our partners and with our fire reach students as well. And what I'm looking to do is what we call a hazard room, which basically would highlight any hazards within a home that we would walk in, we would identify straight away as firefighters. That's a potential hazard for a fire, basically. So if we can educate our partners, educate people within the homes what to look out for, get a referral to us, and we can come out and make sure people are safe. Another room I'll be looking for is it's like a mock-up of a room that's on fire, pitch black. We've got sounds. We're looking to get sounds like speaker system of a fire roaring, and obviously you could open up a door and there's a fire behind it as well, and trying to find your way out of that room. So that's a proposal I'm looking to get hopefully within the next 6 months. So what we are getting somewhere with that, we are getting some funding now from our P&P Directorate, which was our Fire Safety Directorate. And that's my wee update. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, that's great, David. Thanks for that. I'm just conscious of the time.
There is a hand up. Sorry, I did have your hand up.
Me again, Willie.
If we can make it quick, Councillor, so I'm conscious of the time and I've still got a couple of more reports to come in, if you don't mind.
Not a problem. I'm interested to know about the fly tipping locations that you spoke about. Are we seeing less fires connected to fly tipping? Do you think like that's under control? And just another wee question: do you think like contaminated bins and such, has there been any issue with that in relation to fires?
Well, there was a point where we did have a lot of fly tipping round about the A8 and round about the up Bells Hillway. Sorry, the name escapes me, but we did liaise with the council, we liaised with Police Scotland itself. There has been a lot of a movement on that, a lot of uplifts, but it wasn't so much in that report there. That was more to do with bonfires. So if we were looking at the kids stocking up the bonfires, that was what I was meaning with the council were coming and just lifting that for us. But we have had issues with fly tipping before, but I think we're doing okay with it. I've not heard any reports recently.
Good. And what about contaminated bins or anything? Are they an issue for you?
No.
Good, thank you.
No.
Okay, thanks for that, David. I say apologies for chasing you up. I'm just conscious of the time. I've got Inspector Neil McLeod to come in for a police update. Thank you.
Hi there, thanks, Chair. There's actually a brief presentation. I say brief, I will try and keep it as brief as I can, which surrounds me just highlighting issues around the illegal use of off-road bikes within our communities. So hopefully Christine's going to be able to bring that up on your screen. Once I cover the presentation, I'll take some questions on that, and then if okay, I've got a very, very brief just summary of local police activity, which I'll run through. So in terms of the presentation, as I say, it's just Operation Moto X it's about a joint initiative, if you like, between North Lanarkshire Council and Police Scotland, and it's a reaction, if you like, to the wide-ranging issues caused by the illegal use of off-road bikes in our communities. Now, this presentation is fairly general, covering all areas of North Lanarkshire, but I'll just try and skip through it and keep it as local and brief as I can. So it commenced in July 2021 there, and you can see the two marked off-road bikes that we now have here in North Lanarkshire, thanks to our friends in NLC. So we've got two trained officers in the North Lanarkshire area, both of whom are based in Wishaw Police Office. So logistically, it kind of made sense to have them currently based over in Wishaw. In terms of the background and reason that we felt the need for this, in the summer of 2021, Lanarkshire Police, in partnership with the North Lanarkshire Council, initiated Operation Moto X. And as I said, it's to tackle the widespread and serious consequences that can be caused through the illegal use of off-road bikes. Now, whilst locally, we've thankfully, I have to say, not experienced any reports of serious injury or fatalities, we don't have to look too far. In fact, just across to Wishaw to evidence the reality of what the improper use of these bikes can result in terms of, unfortunately, fatalities they have experienced over there. Locally, in the Coatbridge area, our main issues around antisocial issues and use of these bikes is in the Bargedi and Drumpellier Park area, which probably won't surprise you, and also public roads and open spaces, fields leading out towards Landboy, and also Sykeside and Carnbro, where we've had reported issues as well. The two bikes, as I say, logistically, they're held over at Wishaw because that's where the trained officers are. So the majority of the work that's been done through Moto X has, if I'm being honest, been over in the Wishaw and Shotts area. But we have been able to request their support, and that's been forthcoming. And that's obviously been to try and support our conventional resources over here in Coatbridge and Airdrie to try and address the local problems we are facing. But it's not all just about enforcement. A lot of the work that can be done and needs to be done is through local engagement and creating a better understanding of how to legally use these off-road bikes. So it's not just about off-road biking. Quad bikes can be used to assist in all manner of police activities involved around wide open spaces where a visible police presence would be of benefit. One of these many uses could be around missing person inquiries, where there is a requirement for us to cover rough terrain for searching for missing people. That's where these bikes can really come into the fore. Now, moving on to stats. The table there, if you can see it, well done. Your eyesight is better than mine, but unfortunately I do have it printed in front of me. So the stats, just to briefly run through that for the QG area, which that covers the Northern Corridor, Cumbernauld, Kilsyth, Airdrie and Coatbridge. Since the introduction of Operation Moto X, and that's covering a six-month period since July 21, it's seen a reduction of 57% when it comes to reports of issues around off-road bikes. Now, the figures are there and the reduction is notable. However, I'm more than willing to accept that there are other contributing factors as well, and it's not just the introduction of these bikes and their capacity to address the issues. For instance, the easing of lockdown restrictions and meaning people are able to get back to their work or school, that will have an effect on it as well. But the case remains that since the introduction of Moto X and that kind of local focus on issues in individual areas, since July 21, there has been a notable reduction in incidents. I've already covered the next slide, so if we can move on to kind of issues arising. So This slide shows that over the winter months, December and January, there's been a steady increase we're finding in reported incidents. So part of that reason we feel is because the two-wheeled bikes, which is all that we have just now, we're unable to deploy them onto adverse weather conditions for health and safety regulations that we're governed by. So that would be another benefit of the quad bikes, the introduction of the quad bikes, because we can use them in all terrain and all weather, which is clearly an advantage for tackling the issue all year round. In terms of the funding proposal, I need to emphasise that this issue is across North Lanarkshire and not just focused on the area of Coatbridge. So the same business case that I'm providing here, this presentation has been put forward to all 9 of our community board areas, thereby spreading the cost of the funding of these bikes. So if supported, then the amount of contribution from each board area would come down to things like population and demographics, I would suggest. All we're looking for, and the reason that we're providing this business case, is we're just looking at this stage for the support of the community board to satisfy themselves that there is indeed a need for it locally in their area, and that local police could do with this additional resource to complement their conventional resources to tackle the problem effectively. So if we successfully get these bikes, then some of your local community policing officers will be trained and kitted out in them, and that's another advantage of the quad bikes as opposed to the two-wheeled variety. The quad bikes is simply training-wise, simply a 2-day programme, and there's far less requirement for additional safety equipment, thereby reducing the cost as well. So that's clearly another advantage. This would be a very useful tool for the local police to be able to along with the North Lanarkshire Council, to be able to tackle antisocial issues generally and not just the issue of off-road biking. It would provide us with an opportunity to increase our presence in some of our key open spaces, I would suggest. And that is it in terms of that presentation. I think that's everything covered that I would like to cover. So I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any.
Okay, thanks for that, Inspector McLeod. Anybody with questions? I'm obviously conscious of the time. Do we have to be finished up at 8:30, Christine, based on the WebEx? No, right, okay. Any questions? Again, a question to Matt is that in relation to, obviously there's a proposal looking for funding, is that something the board can look into and approve or discuss? Is that done? Is that an application to the LDP?
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here, Chair, is the kind of business case that that Neil has put forward tonight. It's quite clear what the benefits are of this kind of investment, and it is very much a partnership approach. You know, in terms of the funding that the council would be asked to put towards this, it's similar to what we have done before, where we have taken funding, and that, as I say, as Neil mentioned, is spread across the 9 community boards. It's not asking this board to foot the whole cost of that. And bear in mind what the police's contribution is to this, is in terms of the staff, the officers out in the area, the training, the maintenance. It is very much a partnership approach, and is something that we would suggest could be accommodated through the local development programme to support that across the 9 boards.
Okay. Are we in agreement with that? Okay, we're happy to move on with that then. Again, conscious of the time, still got a couple of partners wanting to come in. It's NHS Lanarkshire, then followed by Van El. Who's
Sorry, Chair, sorry to come back in, but just if you don't mind, I'll just cover it very briefly, just local issues that police are experiencing just now.
Okay, if you make it brief, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, just in brief summary, antisocial behaviour in general. Well, like any board area, we continue to have pockets within our districts that cause community concern. Talking about youths gathering, reports of disturbances, noise, underage drinking, etc. So some areas recently affected that we're currently targeting through action plans is Townhead, Leaving Road, to be specific, where there's ongoing action plans. There has been for the last couple of weeks, and that will continue. And when I'm talking about action plans, I'm talking about dedicated resources, high visibility foot patrols in that area. Other areas being Sykeside as well, which I know is an ongoing issue, and I believe there's plans in place to get another walk around there with our friends in NLC and local residents again to assess the extent of issues there and see what can be done. In terms of speeding drivers, now that was obviously a topic brought up earlier on in terms of the petition and so on. I spoke briefly about that. And again, I would just emphasise, we've been out again this week. Those of you that follow the local police and social media will see we put something out yesterday and today just in terms of a bit of activity in our local areas. So Kirkshaws continues to be an area of focus, Blair Hill and Shawhead as well, which is obviously a long-standing issue. So hot off the press, officers were out yesterday in Shawhead and they had occasion to stop 10 drivers in total. And bearing in mind they were only there for just shortly over an hour. So they stopped 10 drivers, 8 were warned, 1 was charged with speeding and 1 had their vehicle seized for various motoring offences. And I think that's all in the issues that I'll cover. But again, happy to take any questions or if anyone wants to highlight any issues they're experiencing.
Just quickly, it's not a question or anything, but Neil, I would really be grateful if you could give me a wee report on that, the Shawhead area. It's obviously one that I've been in touch with you quite a few times. Thank you. Yes,
absolutely, will do, Councillor.
Okay, thanks, Inspector. Moving on, a report from NHS Lanarkshire. Sorry, Councillor Larson, I've just seen your hand up. In you come. That's all right, and I hope I'm coming in at the right bit because I had to disappear for a couple of minutes there, and I'm just back, Chair. It was to ask about there was an article in the newspaper. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I certainly shared it with some colleagues in my council group. But it's about the local authority area, second only to big cities in crime count statistics. And there was, I think within the body of that, we had been listed 4th in terms of crime prevalence in the country. I'm just wondering if you wanted to give any detail on that from your side, in terms of the picture.
Thanks, Councillor. I have to be honest, it's not something that I've seen, so without having access to it, I don't want to give kind of inaccurate context around it. But if you were to ask me, would I be surprised in terms of us being 4th in the North Lanarkshire area? Not necessarily, and I'm just equating that to call volume and demand on our resources, which I would have to say is right up there. I wouldn't categorise, in terms of going into violence, housebreaking, because I don't know how the stats are sitting, but in terms of that demand on our resources, I would say we'd be right up there. That's for certain.
Oh yeah, just for your interest, in case you want to see, it was in the Daily Record this week, and it was 4th in the country they were placing us in terms of crime prevalence. That was me.
Thanks, Councillor.
I wish I was expressing what I'm saying more articulately. I've just been distracted there. But I suppose we're just interested in the picture overall because throughout the pandemic, understandably, I have to say we've had less, community engagement from the police. So it's just to see, how that picture was developing. Thank you.
Well, that's all noted, and thanks. Obviously, we continue to produce our annual policing plan and report, and within that we have all our statistics, and there's obviously that general comparison with other areas and across the country as well.
Okay, thanks, folks. Again, really conscious of the time, so it's input from NHS Lanarkshire, then followed by Van El. If we can make it as informative but as brief as we can, that'd be great. Thanks. I don't know, is it Grant Murdoch that's maybe speaking for NHS Lanarkshire?
Hi Chair, hi Willie, I'm here.
Hi,
so
Grant.
this is obviously my very first community board meeting since I've just started my new post in Coatbridge as health improvement practitioner. So it's nice to come along and meet everyone and see everything that's going on within the locality. So again, short brief update from myself. It's not really much to update on. The fact that I've just came into post. Elaine Johnson's name was mentioned earlier, so we're in the process of recruiting for her post as well. So that should be in place by the end of April. I'm pretty certain that it should be in place by then. So you'll have the new seniors presence on the call then. Probably the only update to give is just that one of the diversionary programmes that we deliver and what NHS Lanarkshire fund through the locality is the street soccer programme, which takes place in the Sykeside Green End area. It's across from I think it's Cambro Place or Cumbria Place, sorry. And that was also the information that Christine Boyle had provided to me from the walk around that Neil McLeod had mentioned there, which happened in December. So we took the kind of the statistics and the information from that walk around, and we decided to place the programme in that area. So that's probably just as brief as update I can give at this moment in time.
Okay, Grant, thank you very much for that. And input from Voluntary Action North Lanarkshire.
Thanks, Chair. We've just a couple of things to update on, folks. We'll soon be launching the North Lanarkshire Community Lottery. Organisations operating within North Lanarkshire that have a turnover of less than £100,000 can register to be a good cause who will receive funding from this. So I'll pop a link to this in the chat. Also, we'll maybe be looking to re-establish our locality network events. Previously, we held these in the Coatbridge area and they were really well attended and informative. We're maybe looking to set dates in April and October. One last thing, I'll also be running some free cyber resilience training sessions next month. They're open to everyone. And it's not particularly technical, but it just covers issues like keeping your devices secure, password security, and avoiding scams and phishing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, folks, we seem to get through it. Apologies for taking a bit more of our time up. Have we had any other competent business? Doesn't look like it. So all I can do is thank you for your attendance. Date and time of next meeting, there is no date set as yet, and I've got no doubt a date will be circulated to the community boards in due course. So can I thank you for attendance, folks, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.